Oh, we're live. Okay.
Yeah. All right. We'll chat for a few minutes while people filter in.
All right.
I'm Kevin Laporte from Flatline Comics and Inverse Press, the comics crowd on Substack.
And I'm just Martin Piero with Cosmic Times. And what am I? I'm the Cosmic Update on Substack. I think that's what mine is.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to tell me. I don't know. The,
Yeah. I noticed today I was trying to put out my regular daily or every other day newsletter for the comics crowd, and I was getting a lot of mentions unavailable or unselected or something like that. I couldn't actually tag people in the post. I don't know if that was a temporary glitch because I could do it in notes. I couldn't do it in the actual post. So I'm not
you
sure what's
tagged me in
going on.
that note. Yeah. So is that what you do
Yeah.
when you do them? You try to find people who are on Substack and tag them in it, or?
Yeah, if I'm recommending their project, I usually try to tag them just to let them know that it was recommended there, and sometimes they'll share the post or
Now,
um,
do you tag them if
comment.
you slam their project? If you're like, this is garbage, do you tag them in the
Well, I
those?
don't ever say this is garbage unless it's cheating or unfair or AI or something like that. I did kind of say that about the Mark Maron "What the Fuck" podcast graphic novel because there's only 2 paragraphs of information and no art, and it's made of like $150,000.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Start launching Kickstarters with just one picture and 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, I guess so. It's like and
Little
and
effort.
and be already rich like Mark Maron. So
No, I guess it helps if you have a name.
yeah, um, yeah, and that
And
was from
how?
Z2, so they have a
sp-
huge audience already. So
Speaking of Kickstarters, don't you have one going right now? Plug.
yep, launched on Sunday. I'm about 10% of the way away from funding, so about $98 away from hitting that initial funding goal. It's the second to last issue of the book I've been working on for about 14 years called Last Ride of the Four Horsemen. So it's up there now. Appreciate any support, any visits, mentions, shares, pledges, anything. It's going
Figure it
well though.
out.
The
Good.
number of pledges are solid for what I've seen on this before. So I look for a similar result and look forward to finishing this project up and having a nice fat hardcover in my hand sometime next year.
Speaking of fat and hard, so I got this email from
Yeah.
Kickstarter the other day. Did you know if anybody else got this email? I
I
think I
haven't
saw
seen.
somebody commented on your Substack that they got it. So
Okay, so I haven't seen word one other than what you sent me and that one comment about anybody getting it. So it seems pretty random, or either it ended up in a lot of promotions folders in Gmail or a lot of spam folders where people didn't find it or see it. I checked all of mine because I've backed a lot of different Kickstarters, especially within the last year working on the comics crowd. And I figured if anybody would be tagged to receive that newsletter, it would be me. But maybe they excluded me because of my criticism of the not safe for
yeah,
work space.
that would actually require them going in and personally deleting you from the email
Oh,
list.
maybe it happened. I don't know. Hopefully not. I've got no bad feedback or bad blood from Kickstarter over what I feel is definitely constructive criticism because I'm really my efforts are to make it better, to make the category better for everybody and not just
Oh,
for us, but for even for the not safe for work content creators. I want those folks. I want everybody to succeed in comics, but I want it to be where there's a level playing field and a what's the word I'm looking for? A viable, shoppable space on Kickstarter for actual comics. That's my goal.
well, it seems that Kickstarter's goal is to promote not safe for work comics. I don't think we actually said the email I received on September 4th, and I only found it because I was clearing out old emails. Introducing Kickstarter After Dark. This is a new initiative they're pushing forth. The body of the email says that's a growing corner of Kickstarter's universe that bold, provocative, and proudly not safe for work. From steamy romance novels and nude art books to sex tech and comics with spicy alt covers. And then in parentheses, we're talking real, and it has like 3 chili peppers. Who wrote this? A
Well,
13-year-old girl.
the
These projects
emojis
are,
make it legit.
yeah, yeah. Actually, ChatGPT puts a lot of those in. These
They use
projects are
on the murder
pushing,
street now.
again, creative boundaries, telling raw stories, and finding eager backers along the way. And then it says, so we figured, why not give them their own stage? And then it just goes on. It has links to, gives me four. I don't know if the links are aggregated based, or if it's just this. Everybody got these four links. Two are comics. No, one is a comic. Anti Christine and the Four Unicorns of Apocalypse. Uh, and then Monsters and Beauties, a monster romance collection. Those two seem a little tame. And then we drop down to the fine art books. Fine art red hot XXL art book calendar and exhibition for 2026. It's a calendar of redheaded men naked, which I don't know how they determine that that's something that me as a backer on Kickstarter that's never backed a redheaded book or a naked book would want. And then the final thing is a technology thing, Groove thing, the world's first internal music player. So it's just
There's
a
your
little
sex
something
tech.
you, yeah, there's your sex tech. You just pop that baby in and put on, I don't know, some
Motley
Christian
Crue.
music. Oh, Motley Crue. Okay, it's probably better. No Amy Grant up in there.
Yeah, the whole thing's
I
a
mean,
little weird. I mean, one of the things that I've pushed for a year now, and at least in terms of making recommendations and suggesting that people include this suggestion in their surveys to Kickstarter after a campaign ends, is to make a tag for not safe for work, so the people
mhm.
that are there to look for that can find it. But the other half of that equation is to not include it in the regular comics stacks for search results on Kickstarter, and that's the missing piece here. You you've still got project cover images with just barely covered orifices next to people
Oh,
running
you
children's books.
you posted
Yeah,
one that wasn't even really that covered. It was just colored like it was covered. Yeah.
and you know what? I reported that project because of that. I'm not ashamed to say that I reported that project through the official reporting mechanism. And you know what they did? They sent me an email anonymously saying that they took action on that project, but they couldn't tell me what they did. And so I went and looked at it, and all the person did that had that cover image was color it red instead of yellow. So there's still actual
Oh, well,
orifices there colored red instead of yellow. That's a real thing that happened, and they were satisfied with that response. So if that tells you anything,
well, action was taken. Action was taken, Kevin.
that's right. That's right. The
The
paint bucket on Adobe Photoshop was enacted.
I mean, I don't want to come across like we're being prudish, even though I'm a
No,
little prudish. But I mean, I think everybody should experience whatever they want to experience in life as an adult. Like if you want to put your MP3 player up in there, go for it. That's
that's
your business. But that shouldn't be mixed in with all the other stuff, and it shouldn't be promoted directly to somebody, again, me, that's never backed I've never backed a not safe for work comic. I've never backed a nudie art book. I've never done any of these things. And somehow they selected me to receive this email and they didn't
so,
select you, which is the
so
weird
no
thing.
opt-in. No opt-in.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, the only opt in I ever did was opt in for their email, which I would assume would be targeted to me and the projects I want to back.
Yeah. So I know the Kickstarter lead does a monthly recommendations email, or I don't think I've actually seen it, but that's what he said he does.
I don't
And
think
that
I've
was,
seen it either.
yeah.
Come to think of it.
I know he said that on Tyler James' podcast that was something that he did, but I've never, and maybe I'm just not opted into that. So maybe I just missed it. But
I
yeah,
mean,
it's, go
from
ahead.
Kickstarter's point of view, they make a lot of money off the porn comics and the porn products and stuff. I dare say they probably make more off the porn comics than they make the non-porn comics.
Well, for 4 or 5 months there from December through April or so, I broke these numbers down every month. I looked at every project and I kept databases or spreadsheets, I should say, on all of that. And most months, Not Safe for Work was dominating about 60% of the income for crowdfunding for the comics category. So it's not even a question. That's a fact. And in fact, the numbers were so stable month to month that I just stopped tracking it because it was the same within, some standard margin of error that it didn't warrant looking at anymore. And maybe it's changed now. I doubt it. It was just very robust over several months, and it's taking a lot of time, so I stopped doing it. But yeah, it's definitely most of the money. And I mean, I don't really blame them for following the money. I know they've run in a business that they're trying to keep afloat in a hellish economy. Um, but there's ways to do it better for everybody involved and probably increase the revenue from not safe for work comics, or should I just say safe for work comics?
But just regular comics, it's a
Yeah, just comics.
yeah. I mean, comics. Obviously, we're focused on the comics part of this. I don't know what the dirty stuff does on all the other categories on Kickstarter, but like you said, the dirty comics, and we know people that make their bones, making those comics. And as a matter of fact, when I clicked the link to send me to Kickstarter from this email, two of them are from the same creator who's running two different nudie comics at the same time. The
It's very common.
Yeah. Hmm. And both of them are overly funded, of course. So, but if Kickstarter is going to lean into this, then they should just make their app. We're a dirty comic. We're a dirty app. That's what we are. We're a porn app instead of just. I don't know. Like I mentioned before, I used to work in a video store back in the late '90s or mid '90s, I guess. No, I guess it was early '90s. Gosh, I'm old. The when Whenever Driving Miss Daisy was out on VHS, it was VHS, not DVD. The We had the video store. You had the kids and family in the front. Then you had, I think it was action adventure, sci-fi, drama, and then in the very back was a door that you would go into. It was like Western saloon door, and then there was
Yeah.
all the dirty movies. We had about, I don't know, 50, 60, maybe 100 dirty movies in there. And that worked in the video industry for about 20 years, where they would keep, I mean, your average mom, not Blockbuster, but your mom and pop video store would carry those because they knew they had an audience for it. And we would have guys, only guys, come in with a stack that they wanted to get of these movies that they were going to keep busy for a couple days, I guess. Huh? So yes, there was a market for it, but we knew that just good taste, you don't make that what you put in front of the store.
Right. And uh, but in this case, they can do that, just putting it beside it. Give it its own category. Use this tag, give it its own category, and don't crowd out comics that are not, I wanna use the word salacious, but not all not safe for work comics are salacious, but, that are not safe for all ages, I should say.
Right.
And w it's already a super crowded category. Right now, there are almost 300 projects in the comics category right now. If
That's
you
crazy.
tease out those that are not safe for work, put them in their own category, the people looking for those are gonna find what they want easier. The people are gonna find comics that are safe for work, so to speak, are gonna find what they want. And we're still contending with God knows how many empty campaigns with no art, no real creators, run by AI, all of this that we're competing with for eyeballs and all the search results. And nobody knows that until they go look at it. It's an untenable mess right now. It's just unshoppable. And we're seeing that because when we run campaigns, we're reaching our audiences, but there's a natural attrition to an audience that you built over years. But it's hard to find new audience that's shopping Kickstarter for comics because they're either put off by the not safe for work, or they're finding the campaigns that don't include any real art, that don't include any real story, that are AI driven, that aren't going to produce a real comic, and they're not coming back. They think we're all that way, or they think we're all not safe for work, or they think we're all running bullshit campaigns that aren't going to produce anything real. And
Well,
it's just difficult.
Well, that even goes back to, I mean, just comics in general. You have back in the con days when there was independent publishers out there who were putting out trash comics that and never released a second issue, and it put a taint on everybody. And the same thing with this. You have somebody who, oh, my comic's coming in June. Come April the next year, it still hasn't arrived. It's like it hurts everybody. So we already, like I say, we're competing against that. And then you throw, what do we have here? Bloom Squad, the one that didn't fund. Okay, how about Nippy? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, the spicy ice cream parody. We're up against. we try to put our book that's, your Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse are up against, what was it? The Unicorn Apocalypse with the Antichrist nudie comic.
Yeah,
Somebody goes
yeah.
looking for your Apocalypse comic, they're going to find that too right next to it. And again, like I said in the post, we would never at the video store shelve Driving Miss Daisy next to Driving Miss Daisy Crazy. Yes, that was a real title.
Uh-huh.
And we would never do that because it would put off people going to get Driving Miss Daisy and confuse the people looking for Driving Miss Daisy Crazy because they'd pick up the wrong tape, get home, drop their trowel, and there's Jessica Tandy on the screen. It's not what they Morgan Freeman. It's
Well,
not what they wanted.
at least not what they thought they wanted.
I mean, they still finish off, but it would, it wouldn't be what they wanted. But the principles there, and like you said, if they had it separate, all the pervs could just go to the not safe for work section on Kickstarter and click and back them all. They wouldn't have to skip over our books and other creators' books. They
Right.
could just back all their nudie comics.
The people that want those products are going to find them and back them regardless. Give them a space where it's easier to find what they want. Give us a space where it's easy for our backers to find what they
Mhm.
want. And there's some crossover
Exactly.
there. There's absolutely crossover there. But that's the practical solution for everybody involved. That's not censorship. That's just merchandising.
Exactly. But no, like back to the video store analogy. I mean, we had, 2,000, 3,000 tapes, but we still had that 100 because
Yeah.
we knew the manager knew to service the entire community. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what Kickstarter doesn't seem to be getting. They're just kind of, especially with his email, they're servicing one particular corner of the community, which again is a large part of the community, but really doesn't represent comics as a whole as it's viewed across the nation or
Right. Yeah. My
historically.
experience with the statistics was that not safe for work comics were generating anywhere from 30 to 40% of the actual total number of projects, but getting 60+% of the revenue. And that just tells you how imbalanced it is in terms of what they're bringing in. And of course, Kickstarter is going to follow the money. You can't blame a business for following the money, but they could bring in even more money by making better decisions on how things are arranged, how searches are conducted, how products are found, and making this whole thing more shoppable on both sides of the coin.
But like you talked about early on in this stream, the guy who runs the comics at Kickstarter knows this problem. He's read your Substack. He's because I've heard him on Tyler James' podcast. Can't remember the guy's name, Sam something or other, right?
You
And
said,
he, yeah, and your name has been brought up in those conversations on the podcast, so he knows you exist. And you're not the only voice out there saying this too. I mean, they have to be hearing it.
well, I know when I've made a call for people just to respond to the um, creator surveys with this sort of approach to make a separate category for the not safe for work comics. People have done that. They've let me know that they did that.
Hmm. So yeah, Kickstarter knows this is a problem. They and again, it could just be, we live in this part of the country, and so we have these views, and they live somewhere else where, different parts of the country, people have different opinions on things. But I don't think the mass amount of comic fans would disagree with the sentiment that it should be kept separate.
Yeah, and that's just going to work better for everybody involved. For everybody involved, and my hope is that this is just a first step in creating this not safe for work tag and moving forward with changing things on a larger level, like I've suggested, like other people have suggested, in a way that's more even keeled, a way that's more fair to everybody involved, and a way that's going to promote regular safe for work adventure superhero horror comics and high fantasy comics in a way that's going to generate more income for everybody, more funding for everybody involved, not just the night safe for work. I mean,
And
if you look at the projects
theoretically,
we love tag,
that that means more revenue for Kickstarter. So it's in their best interest too.
absolutely. And they are following the money, and not just from the not safe for work, but if you look at the projects we love tag, the most of those now go to corporate comics or big name creators that are guaranteed to bring money. I mean, when I see that Mark Maron podcast graphic novel, get a project we love with 2 paragraphs of information that don't mention the creators more than once, that don't show any art, don't tell you how many pages, but here, just pay this amount for a graphic novel we're going to create, and it might show up on the date that we're saying it. I'm sure that comic will get made because it's a big company, Z2, that does lots of celebrity based comics, especially around bands and things like that. So I'm sure it'll get delivered, but you just don't know what you're getting for that. But it got the project we love tag because it's making mega bucks. I'm sure it's over 150K today.
Well, when they don't that's the thing too, when they don't show art on, not to get into this, off topic here. When they don't show art on a comic book Kickstarter page, where comic book is, I would say a 75% visual medium versus, I mean, we're writers, but let's be honest, it's the visual attraction that pulls you into the project, and to not have that is bizarre.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me how they get greenlit to be launched when they don't show that. I mean, you know as well as I do that a lot of veteran creators that I mean, I have launched nearly 100 projects since 2009 on Kickstarter. Never not fulfilled one, but I never get an automatic approval when I submit a project. I'm always waiting 2 to 10 business days to get an
Was
approval.
There was a point you and I launched around the same time. You were waiting, I got my approval
Yeah.
like that, like 3 minutes, I got my approval, and you had
Yeah.
been waiting like 3 or 4 days at that point.
Yeah, and but these guys that just put in nothing, some text walls, and a cover image that's oftentimes AI generated. That's not the case with the Marin project, but oftentimes AI generated uh, project images,
Mhm.
they get approved immediately. And you can tell because first time creators get an automatic approval. It's an automatic green light. So no matter what you put in there, it's going to get green lit. But they're scrutinizing the people that are absolutely reliable. It's not just me. I've heard it from other people who've been kickstarting successfully and reliably for years. It's a shame. It's something they need to look at, uh, and they need to start catching some of the problematic cover images that are being used. I'm not talking about the cover of the comic. I'm talking about the project cover image,
Project image, yeah.
like we talked about before. Yeah, because I mean, I posted one in my update yesterday, and my post yesterday on Substack that was just 2 little circles covering women who were, spread eagle or bent over, and, that made it through. It's absurd.
Again,
It's like walking into a bookstore on Bourbon Street.
whatever standards they're operating at don't seem to match what's considered common, standards. Again, it could be because, like you say, they're following that money. They know that spread eagle girl gonna, with her two, discount dots, are gonna get them, you know, $20,000 in Kickstarter revenue or whatever, $10,000. The But again, like you said, if all of those images and all those projects were in one place on Kickstarter, people could go to them and just back them all.
Problem solved. Problem
Right.
solved. And they're not
And it
to somebody's book of that their kid helped draw about going to Wonderland or whatever. It's not next to somebody that's made a children's book that's a comic like that they've been working on their whole lives, and then they go to people are searching for it and they come up with something next to them that's another one of these egregiously inappropriate and irresponsible project cover images. Not and look, the people that make the real money and not safe for work don't do that with their cover images on Kickstarter. They'll make something sexy and nice looking, but it's not that project cover image isn't the flag they carry to show the nude parts or the salacious parts of the art. They know they make a beautiful cover image. They're going to draw people in without having to show that. That's just the
Right.
lowest common denominator. It's not frequent, but when it is, it's always really. I mean, I've reported cover images that showed instances of characters being sexually assaulted or
Jesus.
or uh, bound in a way that suggests they're about to be sexually assaulted. I mean, and those did get changed, but they didn't get called up front. I don't know what trust and safety is doing differently with these projects versus policing people that and they don't do this as much as they used to, who are launching just before another one of their campaigns is fulfilled. But then again, you've got not safe for work creators that have 12 projects over the last 14 months that haven't, and none of them have been fulfilled, and they're still getting green lights. That's a whole different story, but
Well,
it happens
because
more in the not safe for work
Kickstarter already
category
ma
than others.
Kickstarter made the money on the project at that point. Whether it gets fulfilled or not, does Kickstarter really care? At the end of the
True.
day, I mean, it's good for their app that people fulfill, but they take their 12% and walk away, you know?
That's true. That's
And
true.
oh, then here's that creator to give me another couple $100 or whatever, how much
Oh,
ever they make on it.
well, one thing's for sure: the people that back those campaigns in June of 2024 and still don't have their books think
Oh,
every other creator on Kickstarter does the same exact thing and isn't fulfilling like that. And that's just not the
true.
case. I launch
And
about
that
10 times a year, 8 to 10 times a year, and I never have more than one project outstanding at a time. Never. It is possible to do it. It's all in the planning, all in the advanced logistics. It doesn't have to be that way.
I know a
But
creator who has about 4 projects outstanding right now, but we won't go into that. And just launched a brand new one. The, yeah, so I mean, I think the solution's right in front of Kickstarter, how to fix this. If they want to fix it, it's right. I mean, it's a simple thing, but you mentioned the AI covers and everybody do AI art, but there is another side to AI. They can have AI scan these projects and determine if they're not safe for work or not. All they have to do is set certain parameters, and AI will like that's what YouTube does because YouTube
yeah,
can't filter all the videos that get loaded up every day. So they have bots and AI scanning their videos for content that's needs to be put on hold or blocked. Or in the case of Kickstarter, needs to be moved to this subcategory. Or I would
yes,
just say give the creators the ability to select what category they want their book in. And
100%.
if they violate it, then they get in trouble. That's the end of it.
100%. And I don't think anybody that makes not safe for work comics is going to object to being able to select that category because they know the money is flowing into that category, and they're going to have less competition from eyeballs for eyeballs rather in their own category than they would with the 300 other projects that are currently in the comics category. So if
So
you,
that's very valid too, because if they have their nudie book running, but then Keanu Reeves puts another Berserker out,
yeah,
and they're right now they're competing with that. Where if that's in its own category, they're technically yes, there's a certain level of competition, but they're in their own little world, milking that cash cow of all the nudie covers and stuff.
right, and they've got to make it more shoppable, and I hope that this newsletter is a step toward doing that, and that they don't just stop there, but they take that next step and just move this into its own category, at least in terms of comics, because
Right.
it's I guess they could do the same thing in publishing. I don't know if they do or not, but I don't know that it's as prevalent there as it is in comics right now because it's so art driven, it's so cover driven.
Yeah, that's like
Most of the
even with the publishing and novels, it isn't this just for lack of another word, vulgar art that they're putting up on these campaign pages because a novel will have its Fabio cover holding the girl, and that's about
right,
that. And
yeah,
Fabio kids, that's a reference.
yeah. Oh well, I agree.
Yeah,
And like I said, I hope this is just the first step toward resolving this issue the right way and making the whole thing better for everybody. At the end of the day, it's about shoppability, and the comics category right now is not shoppable. There's too much. There's too much clutter, and there's too many not safe for work projects that are going to either offend somebody, repel somebody, distract, give a false impression of what comics in the Kickstarter community are actually like on the whole, and making this one distinction makes the whole thing better for everybody. So I hope
100%.
this is just the first step to making that happen.
Yes, sir.
So no comments today, but I think we got our point across.
Yeah, we got a good amount of viewers. I think you should plug your Kickstarter one more time while we're here talking about
Yeah, I did
Kickstarter.
launch on Sunday. I'm 90% of the way to our funding goal. So I launched a steampunk Western slash horror kind of book I've been running for producing for about 14 years called Last Ride of the Four Horsemen. It's the penultimate issue. That's the next to last issue of the story. I'm super
I got
proud
my
of it.
box set right here.
Oh yeah, I love that cover. That's an Oscar Pinto cover. Um, yeah, it's something I'm super proud of. Glad to be drawing it to a close in the right way after 14 big issues. And yes, it does take that long in indie comics to sometimes make a book. There's a long story behind this project. a long sad tale that's going to end in triumph. So if you have a chance to check that
Awesome.
out, I appreciate it.
There you go.
So thanks for joining us, everybody. This will go up live on both our Substack pages in just a little while. And then we'll have some YouTube content from this as well. The Substack does a great job of slicing these up into little
Oh yeah.
shorts that really make a lot of sense and that are actually titled better than I think we would come up with on our own.
Again, AI doing
Yeah,
its
yeah,
job.
yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks, everybody, and have a good night. We'll do this again in a week or two.
All right, stay cosmic. Bye.